All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining me on episode 2 of Living Life on the Edge podcast. Today we have the guest Steve Schwasnick, one of the owners of Western Integrated Technologies. I'm really pumped for this discussion because Steve, I started my career inside Fluid Power in Western Integrated. I'm lucky to call Steve a good friend as well as a mentor. So this should be a fun discussion. With that, Steve, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, a little bit about your history, what you're currently doing, and some background integrated or commonly known as WIT.
Hey, thanks, Adam, and it is great to be here. So I want to first thank you and giving me the opportunity to speak to you and your audience. Yeah, like you said, I've been in this business a lot longer than I kind of realize. And one thing about it is it just goes by fast. I started when my dad and my partner purchased a company in Bellevue, Washington, a little hose and fitting shop in 1986. I was in high school. I was turning 16. I had one thing on my mind, and that was that I wanted a red Mustang for my 16th birthday. And instead of getting that, my dad bought a company and gave me my first real job in it, which was cleaning the toilets on the weekend. So that was my birthday present, and I've been in it ever since. I started out literally sweeping the floors and worked up to the point of owning the business. I bought my dad out in 2000 and have really seen just some phenomenal changes in the industry. And I've been fortunate to experience so many different things and have the opportunity to be on, kind of on the leading edge of a lot of new things that have happened and be part of the leadership team in the industry. So it's been a great experience.
That's awesome. And so in the world of fluid power, right, there's a lot of different types of distribution companies, a lot of different types of manufacturers. With Western Integrated, what is kind of the value it brings to the market? I think, when it first started, it was distributing product. I know you guys do a lot more now with manufacturing and systems and everything. We talk a little bit about that and how that's changed over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of going back to the beginning, we were really a mobile OEM focused company, and just working with OEMs. I mean, we all kind of know they tend to be more steady. It's predictable. The margins are lower, it's great. It's really good business. But we had an opportunity to expand, and we knew we wanted to get into some other things. We got into industrial hydraulics as well. And, absolutely thinking about, these changes that have gone on and what we do, it really was from that very beginning of going out and looking at how we could literally spread our wings a little bit more. It was really understanding the marketplace and the competition that was out there and what customers were what they really need and what they were looking for. And, and fundamentally, our business is one of a solution provider. We integrate technologies and we provide solutions to our customers, and that really is on the forefront of what we do. I mean, we are the tagline that we think about, or this phrase that we use, and that's partnering with leading edge companies to make their systems stronger, faster, more energy efficient. It's really about doing what's hard and finding those solutions where they're just tough to come by. So what does that mean for us as a company? That means we have to invest in technologies and in the people to be able to implement them out in the field. And I really do feel that is our differentiator. And I mean, there's lots of times where life would be pretty easy if it came in a box and shipped out in a box and do stuff like that. You can be envious of companies like Amazon that are just, moving tonnage all over the place. But for a relatively good size but regional distributor, we have to do things differently. And so it really is that. It's a lot about integrating in technologies and bringing that out to our customer base. And so when we really don't like to look at ourselves as a sales company. We are a solution company. And so when we talk to our customers or potential customers, it's all about identifying their needs and maybe helping them figure out what their needs are and understanding the marketplace and changing marketplace to really help them move into the future. Or if they choose, at least gives them a view of how we see some things so they can make decisions on behalf of their company.
You know, one of the things that I love about the fluid power industry, one of the things I loved when I worked at WIT was the wide variety of customers and applications that we worked with, right? So we could work with the big Fortune 100 aerospace companies, and we could work with the very small OEM that's building a new hybrid machine to go down a harvester application, right, or a trailer to ship rockets around the world, or a power unit to pump waste out of a waste treatment facility. And I think for a young person to get in there and understand how that stuff works has been super interesting. So when you guys look at that and you look at the market and you look at the customer base, how has that changed over the years of the customers being more excited about new technologies that a value-added solution provider like Western Integrated can provide? What's that relationship look like changed, and kind of what makes you excited about the industry for new technologies that are being deployed?
Oh, great question, Adam. So let me unpack that a little bit, because there are definitely some things that have happened. Way back in the day, the systems were a gear pump, a valve, some hose and fittings, some real basic stuff, and now it's really evolved into very technical things. And it's really about how do we bring that technology to the forefront, and the different types of customers, and that. And so what I've seen changed as a whole within the industry, as technology really has moved in and it's taken over, and more customers, big, small, and medium, have embraced that technology more than they ever had in the past. It is sort of funny. I like it. We have customers that are really resistant to technology, yet they're driving brand new trucks that have every bell and whistle on it. And the cool thing is that we can provide that same stuff, and to be, and to kind of talk about that, with our smaller OEMs, what they want to make sure is that when their product gets out in the field, it's going to work as expected, and they won't get a call in the middle of a harvest or things like that. But what we've been able to do today, because we have this technology as part of our toolbox, is that we can show them, hey, that same dashboard that you have in your truck can be the same dashboard that you have in your machine. And this is how we can put it together, and this is how we can develop it. And I mean, it is. It really, that part of it's really exciting. So, for the large companies that have been around that and they're evolving, they're anxious and excited and want to know everything. And then we have these smaller ones that are a little bit more nervous. You just have to work with them a little bit closer. You got to kind of prove it to them first. So what it does for a young person getting into this industry is it gives you the opportunity to really hone your business skills, because what has significantly changed is competition. 30 years ago, a distributor may have an entire region that is their own, and they controlled that region. And it wasn't to say that they took advantage of it, but they could just say, here's the stuff. I'll spend all this time working with you on this thing, and you'll buy this. And you fast forward today, there's a lot of competition out there. So we have to do things very, very differently. But what we're able to, and businesses like ours, what's great about it is that we have all these tools at our disposal, which makes it, makes it helpful for the customer. Gives them a lot of options.
Yeah, I think, to kind of set the stage for some of the audience members. So, I've worked on some projects with Steve and the team where they've been like river speedboats that they use up like at Niagara Falls to take tours on. And they were like push-pull wires to begin with. And then the engineering team at WIT has gone out there and designed a complete electronic control, almost gaming joystick-like experience, where I think we took on the Columbia River and you could barely move that. Things going like 50 knots down the Columbia, and you're barely moving the joystick, and it's just cutting through the waves like no problem. Or machines that go into rocket launches, and you guys are controlling the valves on it or shipping the rockets around. So it definitely changes, if not day to day, month to month. I think we're doing a really cool waste application with you guys right now that's going to transform waste compacting industries. So I think that's always been super exciting. I think that people, you came from fluid power. Where do you look? What do you think about it? I think it's the biggest opportunity. Like, fluid power is what goes into everything that moves. You make stuff go up and down and around. And now electronics and technology are being deployed inside there. And that's pretty exciting. What are you guys seeing on like the recruiting and hiring front? Major exit coming in the industry in the next 5 to 10 years, right?
Yeah. Yes.
How hard is it to recruit into the industry to get the message out that it's not just oil and gearboxes and valves, but you are actually building high-tech solutions that are powering the world?
Yeah.
What's that been like for you guys?
Well, honestly, we have to do a little bit different type of self-promotion, right? We're not, some of these, like the Googles and the high-tech companies that are just out there. But, what we fall into so many businesses in the United States that are that backbone of an economy, but people just don't know about it. So it makes recruiting fun. So getting your name out is the challenge. That is the piece. And this isn't stuff that's taught in school. But if you bring in people that either have a knack for sales or a knack for mechanical technology, it's super fun to recruit them because it's like unknown for them. And they can see the opportunity that's out there. So you made a point that like a lot of the stuff that we do is all under the hood, as I refer to it. And so most people don't even know about it, but once they realize that it's fluid power that moves everything, I mean, everything is controlled by this. And people go, wow, you got to be kidding me. And we talk about like lifting rockets, like you said, like you worked on a project years ago about a transport trailer to actually move a rocket from one part of this country to the other part, and it couldn't go up or down a certain amount, otherwise the rocket would break in half.
Yeah.
I mean, the mathematics behind doing something like that is unbelievable. And we can be part of that and see that stuff happen. And that could be one project, and there could be something totally different. That's the beauty of this stuff, you're never going to get bored. There is so many fun things, and there are opportunities that abound way beyond what a company like WIT can offer. And we feel like we're really progressive on the technology front. But I mean, we've had companies that have actually spun out of WIT, like Mike Turzo's Hydropulse. I mean, he saw an opportunity. So here's a real technical guy, was an engineer for us, but he was this entrepreneur designer guy. And he saw this thing and he spun out of WIT and started his business and is really evolving technology. I mean, and it's nice because he lives in the Sacramento area. So I see readings in the Business Journal on him, and it makes me really proud that stuff like that. And of course, the things that you've done as well, have come out of this. And so that's another thing that's really exciting about the recruiting standpoint, whether it's us or anyone else, is that there is so many neat things out there. And our customers too. If you look at our customer base, you get into the agricultural areas of just all over the country, but I can talk about in the California ag, it's specialty ag. So we're not talking about the Caterpillars or the John Deeres of the world. We're talking about these smaller OEMs where a farmer started creating some harvester for his crops. His neighbor sees it and wants one. And before you know it, 50 years later or 10 years later, he's got a product out there. And we can be on that edge, really working with them. And today more than ever, we have some incredible technology that can it can be mind blowing for these guys in terms of where their business could go if they allowed it to go there. And that to me is without a doubt, like one of the most incredible things about this is being able, we're not just selling a pump and a valve and a filter. We're selling a strategy to how you can change your business and really revolutionize what you're doing in the future. It's amazing stuff.
So I think you just hit the nail on the head, right? Like I do think that the industry is going through this major revolution, right? And I think there are a lot of second generation, third generation owners of these small companies that they get all their news off of their phone, or they interface with their phone, and they're asking for one of your engineers showed me on a project a new HMI screen they get from one of their suppliers, and it looks like something out of my SUV. And it's unbelievable. Yeah. That thing can go on a garbage truck, and that thing can go on a harvesting machine. And so that is super exciting. And I think the other thing that's really exciting is so much of the world kind of lives digital, but in this industry, you actually get down to the bolts and bits, and you merge the technology. So when we say like Live Life on the Edge podcast, it's the edge that it's the thing that makes the country run.
Right.
And you go down there, and I think that's super, super exciting. What are you excited about in the future? So like you're seeing stuff now, what are the plans, right? So as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, somebody that has incubated companies inside Western Integrated, and they've gone out and doing their own thing, what excites you about the coming years?
For me, it is the evolution of the industry. And let me kind of explain that a little bit, because fluid power it's nichey. Not a lot of people know about it. It hasn't got the visibility as some of these other industries have. It doesn't move nearly as fast as the electronic industry. I mean, you pulled up your phone, and there's been more iterations of that phone in the last 3 years than there has been in a lot of pumps in the last 30 years. So, so as we stand, we look at it like the core technology that we have, or the products that we have been pretty similar for a long period of time. But the future is about what you do with that information regarding those products and how they're creating or working a machine. And I think that and what makes it so exciting for me and for our team is what that allows you to communicate to the customer. Because like I talked a little bit about earlier, how back in the day, you may have an entire territory. So your audience you had command of your audience. And today we have competition. And so how do you differentiate yourself? I mean, we learn as businesses that we've got to differentiate ourselves, and having a bunch of inventory on the shelf is not a differentiator. I mean, anyway, so it's that it is, where I see the industry going is using the technology in terms of data collection, information off of a machine to really do some very special things going forward. Here are trends. Trends are like you touched on. There's companies are like our customers, they're not, as they're getting more efficient and people are retiring, it's not uncommon where their hydraulic guy or gal is gone. They don't have them anymore. So they lose that skill set. And there's a real need out there, because one thing that we do, I mean, fluid power and hydraulics is really theoretical in a lot of cases. Yeah. So it's not until you hook stuff up and fine tune that you get it dialed in. So it's not like something you can just read in an instruction book how to put a system together. So companies are losing that brain power. Our suppliers, you got people that have been in the industry for 40 years. They're retiring. They have been for the last 10 years. So, and with this, a little bit of the theoretical, what tends to happen, and I've seen this forever, is that things get over-engineered.
Oh yeah.
And if we want to have efficient systems, which is part of what we talk about, it's like we want to engineer and design these systems to be specific for the need, and not over-engineer, not under-engineer. So what can we learn from that machine that's telling us information about that? And then there's other things along with that too, is that, and I see this with my OEMs, is that there's this whole piece of business that they don't even really talk about. They want it, but they just don't know how to get it. And that's the aftermarket sales business.
Oh yeah.
And so now we have tools that we can provide them with a fundamental and a strategic way to go after that business. And it's exciting and it's easy to deploy. And so that's the type of stuff. So, and what this, kind of coming all the way back to the recruiting piece of this, when I start talking to young people about that type of stuff and having business and technology conversations with customers, their eyes really light up. It's a very different conversation and a thought process than I'm going to go out and sell a pump or I'm going to go out and sell a filter. And that's the type of thing that I look at in the industry as it's evolving. That is certainly one path that some companies are taking, like WIT is, like following that path.
Yep.
And to me, that's the exciting stuff.
That's awesome. So Steve, first of all, thanks for being on the show. I think I think what you guys do is awesome. I was just talking to a supplier in Switzerland, and I was telling them the story, and I said Western Integrated, and he goes, "Oh, you mean WIT?" So it definitely spans globally. If people want to learn more about Western Integrated, what's a good domain website for them to go check out?
You can find us at westernintech.com. Check out our website. And Adam, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit today. I love this stuff.
Absolutely, man. Thanks. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks, Adam.